Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Mikel Arteta has been speaking to the press. He's been speaking with the media ahead of our last game of the season, and he was actually talking about the possibility of new signings, but he said it is not a possibility, it is a confirmed deal. We are getting resources, and he has actually, the most interesting part in that press conference for me is about the transfers, because he has said that next season it is not going to be a top 4 race. It's going to be 10 teams. It is now 10 teams in the race to fight for the top 4. You understand I think you understand where he's coming from. He's talking about Newcastle, he's talking about Everton and a couple of them. But he said, I do not know what other clubs are going to be doing. However, I can confirm that for us, we have the resources and we are going to be very busy in the summer. That and more is coming up in this press conference reaction. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. 100 likes is always our target. My name is Cossy. Let's get down to the content and of course see what Mikel has been speaking about today. Right, so on his take on the season as a whole, he has said, look, well, first of all, thank you all for what you've done, and probably this is the last day that I'm going to see you after tomorrow, and then we're going to go for holiday. So just a quick reflection, thanking all the team that has been working with pre and post match. And I say he also says, I think it's been a long journey again and a very, very challenging one this season, but I think we have come a long way as a club and as a team. I think we have transformed the energy, the vibe and the expectation of this football club again. We've done it together, showing incredible unity between the staff, the players, and everybody in the club, and especially with our people, which has been incredibly supportive throughout the season, especially in very, very difficult moments. And I think, look, there is a point, he has a point there when he says that the vibe around this team has actually come back, and also the expectation. I remember it was Bakary Sagna last season. We lost the game, and he said, you do not get surprised anymore when Arsenal lose a game. You expect Arsenal to win, to lose. You expect Arsenal to lose these days, rather than in the Arsene Wenger days when it was very scary and a very, very big surprise when Arsenal lost. So when Mikel speaks about bringing back the vibe, bringing back the expectation, and also the energy, that expectation levels raising, I think he's done it. I think most of us are very, very saddened by the fact that we are not going to the top 4, and that is very, very good that the fans of a big football club really have something that hurts them, something that they have not achieved, and they expect it. They expect their team to achieve it, and they have not achieved it. The expectations are there, so can we turn the expectations into reality next season? That would do. I mean, that would do. And he says, now I can sense that I have the hope and expectations to move this club to the place that it deserves. We've done it in the way we predicted, with the project that we set a year ago, with a lot of young players, with the senior players helping, and with our crowds again in our stadium, and with a real sense of connection around that place. So look, according to Mikel Arteta, he's re-echoed the words of Vinay Venkatesham. Arsenal have hit their expectations. So look, as an Arsenal fan, I wanted us to go to the top 4. That is where I wanted us to be. But they are as a club, they as people running the club feel that this is the level at this point in time with this squad. This is where they should be. They feel Champions League could have come in. They wanted Champions League by surprise, but the truth is that they felt like Champions League would have come in very, very early. So the point here, lads, is that probably next season we might see a more mature Arsenal fighting for the top 4 as their goal, as opposed to what we've seen this season, where we've thrown away points as if it were intentional. And I know it was not intentional. And he says, so we are back in Europe. We don't know where it will be decided. Hopefully, hopefully it will be Champions League. I believe that we are going to do whatever we have to do. We are going to be cheering for Norwich to do what they can do for sure. And after that, we want to take the club to the next level. Look, I think he knows it. I think he knows it. As a manager, you know that, especially as a novice manager, you know that the qualification for UEFA Champions League gives you a lot of advantages in the market. It just gives you that, it just gives you that ability to talk to big players, to talk to huge talents, to convince them that this is the place you have to be, to convince them that when coming to Arsenal is actually not a step backward in your career, but a step forward. And without UEFA Champions League, it could be challenging. But of course, it says we're gonna be cheering for Norwich. Look, I've seen a graphic, a Norwich graphic where the Norwich players are Odegaard, Martinelli, and Saka, and I really understand why such graphics are actually coming out. But the truth is, it's not going to be an easy Sunday, right? And so it says that's the ambition. In order to do that, we have a very, very clear plan again, how we want to do it and execute it. And there are no secrets. We need resources, and we need to increase the quality and depth of the squad as long as we maintain as long as we maintain in the same way who we are as a club and the people that are and the people that we have next to us. That's a point. That is a huge point. No, let's read that again. He says, in order to do that, we have a very clear plan. And again, how we want to do it and how we want to execute it, there are no secrets about that. And says we need resources. Very nice. We need resources, and we need to increase the quality and depth of the squad. I love that. I mean, the hypocrisy works. But at times, just get on with it. Just tell us that you need signings. We know this club needs signings. And he's actually saying it. We need signings, right? We need to add quality and depth to the squad, so that we can maintain the same level we are on as a club, and also have the people next to us doing the same. And says that is going to be challenging for the following season, but hopefully in front of our people we can live another great day. On how he rates the chances of still finishing fourth, he said very, very possible. And looking back, I've been back a few years and seen a few examples of teams that they played in the last game of the season and the things that happened. The closer the game is, I am more and more hopeful. Look, honestly, Mikel, this is too deluded, too optimistic, too hopeful, too whatever you want to call it. I don't see Spurs crumble against Norwich. Look, if it were for a draw, that Norwich hold Spurs to probably a 0-0 draw, a 1-0 draw, that would work. But even if it's a draw, Arsenal do not go through. I don't see that. I don't see it happen. The advantage is that we are playing a tired Everton, an Everton that has nothing to play for, an Everton side that concedes goals and an Everton side that is still in the triumphalism state. That is the beauty about this weekend. But other than that, I don't think there is anything to be optimistic about. Just go there, win your last game. Just give us something to talk about. Just make sure it is a positive season, a positive end to the season. Win your last game at the Emirates Stadium, and that's it. We are going to unveil our new kits. Unfortunately, I don't have one, so I'll be putting on this tomorrow as we end the season. But go there, win your last game. That's it. On whether fifth place would be progress, he says it is because we have created expectations that this club deserves and where this club has to be. And in the last 2 months, we haven't been able to fulfill those expectations. But overall, looking back where we were, you have to be clear as well with what we have to do, but very clear that this is not where we want to be. that we want to be in a completely different position, challenging really for the top teams, and that's the aim, and that is not going to stop here. That is another step that was very, very necessary, because it wasn't only about where we are in the league table. We have had much deeper issues at the club than the league table, in my opinion. Now they have been resolved. Now they look very, very strong, and that have the real strong foundations now to build what we want. Look, is 5th place progression? I mean, as an Arsenal fan, you cannot say no. The past 2 seasons, we have finished 8th. We were not anywhere close to challenging. This season, we have spent the bigger part of the season, challenging for the top 4, really. And I think among United, West Ham, Spurs and Arsenal, I think despite the fact that we will not finish there, we've been in that 4th place longest. I'm not really sure. Has it been West Ham? Has it been us? I mean, the fact that we were in a relegation, scramble and petition last season, and we've been on the semi, table for the top 4. It really means a lot. It really means a lot. And I say congratulations to the lads, honestly. Okay, and on the response to Granit Xhaka's comments after the Newcastle game, he says, what we do in the dressing room, we don't comment on it. The moment you allow a person to be in front of a microphone is to express what their feelings are, and Granit is someone who does it in front of the microphone, in front of your eyes and in your face. So there is nothing very, very different. I won't comment about this because I've talked about it in my recent live stream. So make sure you watch the live stream. It was about welcoming that man Marquinhos to Arsenal, Dandale, on how confident he is getting the resources needed in the summer. Interesting point, very interesting point on how confident he is getting the resources needed for the summer. Please make sure you hit the like button. Thanks, everybody. It says we are going to have certain resources, not unlimited resources. Very, very key there. Very key there, right? Listen, we are going to have, and this is something that, I think Arsenal need, desperately need, right? It says we are going to have certain resources, not unlimited resources. Okay, so let's get to let's get on with this. Let's get on with this. Right, just a moment. Okay, there, and it says not unlimited resources, and it says some resources. And with our resources, we have to play and do what we have to do in the best way possible. We don't know what the rest are going to have in terms of resources, which I'm assuming is going to be challenging, because now it is not a top 3 or top 4 league. Now it is a top 8 or top 10 team league. Top 10 teams could be involved. That is why we have to find a way to do again what we did last summer. Spend the moolah, spend the moolah, spend the cash, spend the moolah. That's it, lads. That's it. That is the reason. I'm going to be live at exactly 10 p.m. I'll be live at exactly 10 p.m. And we'll be throwing more opinions around this and trying to see whether this could actually be the case. So make sure you tune in exactly 10 p.m. as we throw more light on our transfer budgets, right? So listen, there have been a couple of reports that we are gonna spend huge money, but he said that's why we have to find a way to do again what we did last summer. Spend the moolah. Nothing more. Catch me 10 p.m. as we discuss more about that, about that and the depth of the budget, on how far away, on how far away we are from challenging for the top four on a more regular basis. It says there I go back to what the league table is saying, and the league table doesn't lie after 38 games, and the league table doesn't and the league table says that we are very, very far away still from the first and second positions, not only on points but on goal difference, and that's the level that we have to try to aim and reach. Absolutely. On signing McInnes, he said, look, I cannot say anything about that. When there is a player to announce in the few weeks, there will be we will be dealing with that, and Mark Gonella is in charge of that, so you can ask him the questions. He's right here next to me. Obviously, I never expected him to give us a very, very good answer there, that wallet. On pitch invasions from the fans, he said we have to stop it, and we have to minimize the risk and exposure of players and staff in this situation, because you cannot control it, and when you cannot control a situation and there's so many people involved in an event, then it becomes dangerous, and we have to do something really about it. Of course, yesterday, I mean, at times it's unavoidable. I think that's the one. Now, I don't like excuses, right? But at times it's unavoidable. There are times when the joy is too much. Yesterday, Everton stayed up, right? And if you can calculate, if you can reason with the amount of pressure those Everton fans have been on, the amount of time they spent in the league, they don't know anything called the championship for so long. And the moment Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores that goal, the moment that final whistle goes, you must be on the pitch. If I'm an Arsenal fan and Spurs lose and Eddie Nketiah scores a late minute winner against Everton, I will be on the pitch. Look, I think fans should stay off the pitch, but me, exceptionally, I would be on the pitch. I'm telling you that. On taking the positives, regardless of where we finish this season, it says, well, probably tomorrow I can answer the question better, because today I'm focused on winning the match and hoping that we can still achieve UEFA UCL football. Okay, on the fans needing a perspective if we miss out on UEFA Champions League. And he says, we try to explain this, and we did try to explain things last year on what we are going to expect, and I think it's very, very clear and obvious. We are not where we should be as a club, because this club's history tells us to be the best in this country, and we are not there yet. Very good answer. Yeah, very good answer on my on my side. I mean, he's a smart guy at times. He could be a smart guy at times. So you just cannot knock him down with those, easy, silly questions. On the development of our young players, it says, everybody, I am happy with the development of our culture at the club, the development of our people, and how they live their profession at the club, and the connection. We have everybody inside the organization, players, staff, ownership, board, and obviously what is unquestionable is what you see in the atmosphere at home and away with our fans, which people who have been here for 10 years say they haven't lived that connection. They haven't lived that connection in that period. So it's so I think that's something to be extremely proud of, and that's the credit to everybody. That's credit to everybody involved with the club. On Everton's win against Crystal Palace, it said, I was watching it yesterday, and that gives me more encouragement about what can happen on the last day at Norwich, because this happens only in this league, and this is what makes the league such an incredible league, because in many other countries where there is nothing to play for, you don't see that type of performances. So we are hoping that something special can happen. Something special can happen. Something special going down, right? So look, he says that we hope something should be happening. Something. Right, so let's wait for that. Let's wait for that. I don't want to be the wet blanket, so I'll keep quiet. I'll keep quiet. On if Everton on if Everton being safe helps us. So as well, playing the last game against a team that can be relegated, obviously mentally is very tough, because you know the consequences of the profession, but they are your colleagues and nobody wants to be in that position, so you get a little bit of relief in that sense. All right, on what he learned from our defeat against Everton earlier in the season. He says, well, there are different things that you learn in every football match. It was obviously a match that we had in some control in some phases, and we lost control. Obviously, we know where we did it, we analyzed it, and Sunday hopefully is really, really different. On Xhaka's interview after the Newcastle game, says, well, you'll have to ask the question to him exactly what he meant or whom he was pointing at. The comments are clear, and then it's down to, okay, who it's direct to, if it's somebody or himself. All right. On if Granit Xhaka overstepped the mark in the interview, it says, I prefer today not to comment too much on that, but when you allow people to speak in front of the media, you allow them to say what they feel, and knowing Granit, that's what he felt. And if he's spoken to Granit Xhaka since the interview, and he says, look, I already talked with him. I mean, I don't understand why anyone would ask, have you talked to this player after the interview? Like, dude, they're his players. But anyway, okay. On how competitive the transfer market will be, says, I think the league has never been that competitive. The numbers you could produce 6 years ago in this league, today you are out of Europe. It's as simple as that. You know that, and we plan, and the plan we have is able to compete with, is to be able to compete with these other teams. But we don't know what resources other teams will have. But we know other teams are starting from a different position, because they are in a different moment. But we still need to have the aim to do that, because if you do not, where do you end up? Just looking back, I don't want to do that. So we need to find ways to be able to compete with them, like we've done this season, because nobody expected us to do that with the squad we had and the expectations that we actually had. On how much will be available in the summer, right? I mean, I could do a couple of live streams on this interview. So just to make sure that we are clear, right? On how much will be available to spend in the summer. It says it's not only about the amount. If you see the wage bill that we have and we had, it's night and day. So it's not only about spending; it's about what you have sold. We had 28 players, and we ended up with 19 in the squad. So it's about the total expenditure, because if not, that figure is irrelevant. Because what is the total annual cost of the squad you are building? What? I mean that is too calculated. But I think the point here for me, and the point he tries to put across here, is that you've got to make sure that as you bring in players, you get rid of that dead wood, right? It's not about balancing the books, because like as it will be living, he's earning around 180k. So if two players come in and each of them is gonna be earning 90k, that is a salary of one player that has been divided into two players. That's good business. On rumors of food poisoning at Tottenham, come on, not now. It says, I don't know anything about that. I have no clue. What can I comment on if he regrets our approach to the January transfer window? It says, no, don't have regret. Do not regret. Sorry. Do not regret. On whether we are in a better position because of it, it says everything that we did was trying to reach the objectives that we had after January, which was try to be challenging for the top four, and the way we are going to do it financially, be stable, and be in a position that come January or December, we could allow ourselves to do certain things and not be completely locked. On whether he tried in the transfer window to bring in players, he says, yeah, if you give me 6 players, I'll go in the market. If you give me 6 players, I'll go in the market bring 6 players in the summer as well. If we can do that, we have 25 players to select, the best 3 strikers in the world. Bring them here. I will coach them. I'll be so happy to coach them. Okay, right. Okay, stop with all this kind of motion, right? On whether not controlling games is to do with inexperience, and says it can be a lot of factors. It's how we deal with moments when we lose that control, and we are able to we are able to reset and take the game in the direction we want. On emotion coming into decision making, say sometimes it's emotion, sometimes it's about the structures, sometimes the first pass that we pick to make to provoke certain things, sometimes it's about in which territories we want to play the next 5 minutes. It's more related to game management. For different reasons, it's really difficult to be just a thing. So lots of things to unpack in that press conference. Mikel Arteta, the boss at Arsenal, speaking very, very strongly, very courageously about transfers. When did we last see, and when did we last hear him saying, I need transfers, I need players, I need to make this squad better, get me those boys? And he's spoken about 3 strikers, 3 strikers, world-class strikers, and says, give them to me, I will coach them, I will happily coach them. My name is Cossy. Why not allow me to speak to you in the next one? We are live at 10 p.m. today. Make sure you do not miss, because you do not want to miss. See you then.